Hey, David, I know people are talking about martial law and Trump canceling the election. What's really the craziest thing that Trump could do before the 2020 election? So, listen, here's the important thing to understand. I agree with many in our audience that Donald Trump has the potential to be erratic, dangerous, and destructive because of how unhinged he is becoming due to the impeachment trial that is upcoming, due to the embarrassment that he, I think, recognizes he has become, the laughing stock he has become in front of many of our world allies. I agree that he has the potential to act in really erratic, unhinged, dangerous ways. Some of the things that he could do, and then we'll get into how likely these things are. There's the idea he could cancel the 2020 election. He could cancel it on the basis that, Ukraine has hacked it and it's not going to be fair or something like that. He could cancel it on the basis that while a president is under impeachment, there couldn't possibly be a fair election. He could try to do that. Would he succeed? I don't think so. The other idea is, could Trump declare martial law, either before the election or after the election? The question here is before the election. Sure, he could try to do it. You do need congressional approval for martial law. We talked last week or the week before. If you go back and look at other instances where martial law has been declared in the United States, it's been really when there have been emergencies. Now, often martial law was used to do really horrible things, like after the bombing at Pearl Harbor, as an example. So that's another possibility. Trump would need Congress to do that. And I don't think that a Democratic Congress, which we will have up until the 2020 election, is going to be willing to do that. Another thing Trump could do is try to get states to cancel elections. So we've already seen that there have been some states where the Republican Party has been canceling the Republican primary to prevent any kind of challenge to Donald Trump in the Republican primary within those states. The idea that would be the next step would be go to red states that have, really solidly red, a Republican governor and a Republican controlled legislature, House, Senate, and try to cancel the election at the state level altogether. This seems, number one, extremely unlikely, and number two, actually counterproductive, because if only red states cancel the election, that's not good for Donald Trump. So I don't see that as a likely scenario either. Another possibility that's been floated around is something that wouldn't be unique to Donald Trump. It would be get in some kind of military engagement, bomb someone, start a war, curry favor as a wartime president to try to justify this totally ridiculous notion of we don't want to change horses midstream. If your horse is failing you and you would die if you stay on the horse, but maybe you can swim to safety, you might try to change horses midstream, to use that analogy. That is always a possibility. How many countries have been possibilities for this? Many. Trump talked about Venezuela. Trump has talked about Iran. Trump has talked about North Korea. There's a long list that's always sort of a possibility. I actually think that the more dangerous scenario would be one that's less cartoonish in nature. I don't think martial law is likely. I don't think canceling elections is likely. Imagine that Donald Trump is acquitted in the Senate impeachment trial, which is the most likely scenario. That could set him off, not by anger, but into this kind of manic imaginary mandate that he might believe he has, even if more than half the country wants him impeached and removed, because Republicans control the Senate, they can acquit him very, very simply. I fear that he will become even more of a megalomaniac by being acquitted and start doing all sorts of crazy things with regard to our allies, maybe executive orders and policy. And that would get less attention than something as notable as I'm declaring martial law, I'm trying to cancel election, and it could actually succeed in doing quite a bit of damage. We will see. I hope none of these things happen.